You've been doing a lot of reporting on that, including and your latest reporting suggested the possibility that whatever might come, it might not even be permanent.
That's right. So after the healthcare meltdown that Republicans had in the House, being unable to pass the Obamacare replacement bill, a lot of Republicans are questioning how far they can go, how ambitious and how bold they should be. And you have Speaker of the House Paul Ryan and House Ways and Means Chairman Kevin Brady, who are determined to do a permanent rewrite of the tax code, but in order to do that, you have to find revenue raisers to offset the reduction or the deficit addition from tax cuts. Senate Republicans disagree on how to do that. The main feature of the proposal that Ryan and Brady have proposed is border adjustment is not going over well with a lot of Republican senators, and they don't have a big margin for error.
I have to imagine the Republican senators from Arkansas, for example, aren't thrilled by that
exactly, where Walmart is of course headquartered. So that's a problem. Republicans don't agree on the offsets, and if they cannot agree to fully offset the cost of their tax cuts, then after the 10-year window, which is the rule in the Senate, then they can't make them permanent. They have to be a 10-year deal like President Bush did. So that's what a number of Republican senators, including Senate Majority Whip, the number 2 Republican, John Cornyn, told me. That's what Senator Hatch, the chairman of the Finance Committee, said just a couple of days ago. So things seem to be moving in this direction, but it's far from over.
Is there a role here for Democrats at all in terms of revenue raising?
Only if they decide to play ball, and it's not likely, because a red line for them is that any tax package not include breaks for upper income people. If that's the case, Democrats will almost certainly oppose it, and that makes it almost impossible for Republicans to do it unless they're united.
Here, I think when you come from the White House's priorities, are they interested in tax reform or are they interested in a tax cut?
The president always talks about it as a tax cut. He doesn't talk about revenue offsets.
And Brady Ryan is not really about a tax cut. It's about a reform?
It's about a permanent rewrite of the tax code. They want Americans to file their taxes on a postcard. This is what they love to talk about. So they're thinking big.
So for the president, he's more concerned. Does he not mind a deficit? Is that what we're getting at here? Like, he can live with that, but it is the House Republicans that really have cornered him.
He hasn't seemed particularly enthusiastic about making sure this doesn't add to the deficit. It's not a priority for him the way it has been. The question is, once he's presented with these various paths, what he's going to choose. Is he going to insist that Republicans find these revenue offsets, perhaps get behind something emphatically like the border adjustment tax to raise these revenues, or is he going to say, no, let's do a 10-year tax cut and allow it to add?
Really big picture. You wrote a piece for Business Week about the Republicans getting to the promised land. They control all of Washington now, and they've discovered that with that control comes problems. What was the main thing you learned?
The big thing I learned, Joe, from the healthcare fight was that moderate Republicans in the House are starting to flex their muscle. They're not just going to go along with far-right legislation as they did during the Obama years, because now they have a president who's going to sign those bills and not veto them, and they're going to have to go home and defend them. And meanwhile, you have the House Freedom Caucus and ultra-conservatives continuing to be very emphatic.